Hello, this is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. Good morning to everyone. We have lots of colloquialisms or quaint sayings here in America. One of them is, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Another one is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Is that such bad advice? Is that such a bad idea to leave things well enough alone, which is another saying we have. Leave things well enough alone. So what has gone on in our country? We've had a social experiment, and I love to point to and call out the social engineering experiment that is called our culture and how it's being destroyed. Are people stupid enough? Are women stupid enough to believe that they can reinvent the wheel? Well, it appears that way. That doesn't mean they haven't been told, right, by the schools, by television media, all forms of propaganda, that they should do it, right? They're being told, go out and reinvent the wheel. Try and invent a better system for men and women to get along, for society to exist. And they're trying it. They're trying it. The unfortunate part of this is, for purposes of the analogy, men are the car, right? We're the engine that makes things go. That is a fact. But women are reinventing the wheel. So the wheels they put on the car are square, they're triangles, right? They are not round. They're trying to reinvent a way for us to move, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work, right? The evidence for that is the fact that men are not marrying women. Women are not staying with men. Men don't even want to marry women anymore, and if they do, they divorce them very quickly. Right? The number of single moms out there, evidence the system is not working. So what happens? Let's just say your dad says, I want you to perform a task. I need you to take a nail and a hammer and drive it through the board, right? And you're like, okay, that's an easy task. Simple, right? Someone figured out you hold the nail and you tap the head, it goes in, and then you hit it with the hammer. Well, women go, let's try it different. Let's put the nail there, put your hand on top of the nail, and smack your hand with the hammer trying to drive the nail down. It doesn't work, right? You smack your hand with the fucking hammer, the nail goes into your palm, and you're like, that doesn't work. How many times do you need to do that before you stop? Right? How long does it take a man to learn not to hit his hand with a hammer trying to drive a nail through a board? Probably one hit. One hit. The lesson is learned. You go back to the way that works. Not feminism. Not women. No. 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 They don't learn that way. Right? They want to reinvent the wheel. And they don't learn from their mistakes. They don't learn from their mistakes. Let's see if I can illustrate what they do just a little better, in a little bit different kind of way. That's the how to do things a little different way. Okay, let's say you have a fire and you want to put it out. So the woman goes and grabs a can of liquid. She thinks it's water, but it's actually gasoline. So she says, it looks like water. Maybe it does the same thing. I need to put that fire out. And they throw the gasoline on the fire, and it makes the fire even bigger, right? The point being that they're taking a bad problem, a bad social innovation, and they're throwing more gasoline on it. That is, a little bit of fucking up. Well, maybe they're just not trying hard enough. Maybe women aren't fucking men hard enough in relationships. Right? They go, threatening divorce wasn't enough. Divorcing him wasn't enough. Taking his house and taking the kids away from him and making him pay for it wasn't enough. Let's get some more gasoline and throw it on the fire. And that is what feminism has done historically. They put more and more and more and more and more and more gas on the fire, thinking it's going to solve the problem. Thinking it's going to bring about domestic happiness, right? Domestic as far as the relationship is concerned. They think that that's going to fix it. If I saw someone throw gasoline on a fire, and I said, what are you doing? They're going, I'm trying to put out the fire with this liquid, right? And I go, dude, that's gas, right? And if the guy keeps grabbing more gas, I'm going to go, you're a fucking idiot. I'm out of here, right? Women do the same thing as feminists. They throw gasoline on the fire. And every time they don't get their way, they want more. More gasoline to fix the problem that can't be fixed with gasoline. Don't reinvent the wheel. I don't know, let's see, take a truck, put triangle tires on it, right? Thump, 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 thump as it tries to go over and it flats, right? And they go, that's not working, let's put bigger triangles on there. They're fucking stupid that way. What is the best thing we can do as men? And this is where I'm kind of serious about this. The best thing we can do is to treat women the same way we would treat a guy who is throwing gas on a fire. He throws down a quart, makes a mess. He goes, whoops, that was bad. Throws down a gallon, right? He's got a disaster looming. He goes and he gets a small drum and he starts to throw it at it. And you're waiting, dude, the conflagration is going to consume you if you throw that barrel on the fire. And he's like, I don't care. I'm going to fix this problem. There are fucking people that stupid. And that's how women are with relationships. There comes a point where you're grabbing the person. You're saying, don't do it. Don't do it. And then they do it. And then you're like, fuck it. Right? And you back away. That is MGTOW. That is the essence of MGTOW. Men going their own way. We are watching women burn our culture to the ground with feminism. Fucking burn it to the ground. And it is time to walk away from them. Men have a desire for women. It is inherent. It's built into us through testosterone and generations of genetics. Men that walk away from women and say, I won't marry you, have got the only path to domestic tranquility. And let's look at domestic tranquility. That's what we want. That's what we want. Men have wanted domestic tranquility. The system was, woman comes in, cleans up the cave, scoops out the bear shit, right? Brings in some potpourri and shit, right? Caveman comes home from a hard day of hunting and fending off other males, and she rubs his back, makes him a sandwich, right? Vacuums the floor. Domestic tranquility. No bitching, no pissing, no moaning. The girl is the helper who brings more calm and relaxing into the home. It takes a larger workload and it cuts it in half and gives a small piece to the woman, and the man does the bulk of the dealing with shit. Man work. Domestic tranquility. That has been completely thrown out the door and window. Feminism and women who are adherents to it, whether they like it or not, they're stupid if they don't understand what they're doing. They have thrown out a system that has worked not for just generations, but for millennia. Peaceful home, domestic tranquility. And they've exchanged that for a desire to be our equal, right? Our equal. And not just our equal, but our superior. If I was to create a sports analogy for this, I would say two teams are trying to pick a Super Bowl lineup. You've got a bunch of big men, right? And then you've got a row of small, delicate women. You know what work needs to be done. Why would anyone choose the little women? It is not a good move, right? That person is not going to be able to do anything. But to carry that analogy a little further, if you want the work done, you give it to a man. Right? If you want it to fail, you give it to a little girl, right? A small woman. Now, all the small woman, if she's put on that sports team, can do is, don't hit me, and start crying while she demands equal rights. If you let him block you, you have to let me block you. You have to let me do it. You can't try hard. You have to give up in order to make me feel good about myself. That is the exact social problem we face with feminism. Women don't get it done, but we're told they're equal. And then they demand we let them succeed. And step back and go, okay, you try it. Oh, wow, you're really good at that. Wrong. Right? They're reinventing the wheel. They can't leave well enough alone. That is the problem with feminism. It is a social engineering program. And like the asshole with the gas can, the best thing we can do is walk away. The best thing we can do with feminism as MGTOW is walk away from it. You can't cure it. You can't fix it. You can't talk sense into them. They don't understand. Okay? A social system that has survived for millennia, and they want to change it. We've got to see it, men, as MGTOW. We've got to see it's time to walk away, right? You can't change them. If you want a woman in your life, buy a maid. Get someone who is willing to exchange money for sex in some fashion. But you cannot have a relationship with them. Because the moment they get in the car, they're going to start telling you to go put some square wheels on it. They'll tell you, oh, what a great car you have. Let's get some square wheels for it, huh? That's what feminists do. That's what women do. They get into your life. All right. This is John, host of MGTOW's Freedom. Please give this video a thumbs up. All MGTOW videos, thumbs up. All channels, thumbs up. Thank you for the fan funding, guys. I appreciate that mightily. A bunch of you out there have sent me, contributions, and it's been wonderful to know that the information I share, the opinion, is valuable and accepted. And it gives us something to talk about back and forth. Thank you for all the comments, and please share this video. Click the share button. Share this video and all MGTOW videos with young men. Young men need to get away from women. They need to figure out how to do it, and I guess we're all doing that. But the best thing we can do right now is get away from them and let them implode. It may take a fucking generation or more. But there needs to be a body of intelligent men thinking about how to get through this. And I guess it's being done day by day. But, young men who are divorced, men who are engaged, they need to hear information from MGTOW. Whether it's these videos or you trying to do it personally. Men keep thinking that they should allow, right, the reinvention of the wheel. And they keep being told that if you don't allow it, you're an idiot. Or you're intolerant. Or you take your patriarchy and your round wheel and go to hell. Because they're going to do it their own way and they're going to show you. Right? I just can imagine cars driving down the road with odd-shaped wheels on them, knowing that those are cars full of women. Right? And you would just fucking avoid them, right? You're like, the car's coming to pieces. It's falling apart. That's exactly what women's things do. It destroys them. They fall apart. All right. This is John, host of MGTOW's Freedom. Semper Fi. I have the penis.